And with a powerful commitment, I believe that we can transform dark yesterdays of injustice into bright tomorrows of justice and humanity. Let us keep going toward the goal of selfhood, toward the realization of the dream of brotherhood, and toward the realization of the dream of understanding goodwill. Let nobody stop us.
Good afternoon. My name is Slew Peichel, Cedar Moon woman. I'm a member of the Puyallup tribe. I'm a Puyallup tribal elder, and I am the culture director for the Puyallup tribe. My name is also Connie McLeod. I want to welcome you to today's honoring of Martin Luther King Day. So today I want to offer a blessing for the event, a blessing for all of the people that are here today, and the blessing for our community. So at this time, I want to say, Sapa Kaya, grandmother and grandmother, thank you for being here today. Thank you for allowing us to have this time. Thanking you for us to be able to gather and share the medicine of this time and this day. The work that's been done to come to this time, the work that will need to be done in the future. Grandmother and grandfather asked the ancestors to look upon us. The ancestors of this land of the Puyallup people, the ancestors that know and understand what our intent is here today, that they be with us, they welcome us, they honor you that are here today. Grandmother and grandfather, we thank you for being able to be here on the land of the Puyallup people. When we gather, it's medicine. When we come together, it's medicine. When we eat together, it's medicine. So I pray and I give thanks that we can continue in the best way forward to be able to come together to share in celebration, sing with one another. So today we honor and bless all of you that are here to witness the work that's done today, for the medicine that we bring to the sacred circle, the medicine that we bring when we call upon our sacred water, our sacred mountain, our sacred cedar, our food, our salmon, our deer, our plants, our medicines, and our berries, that we honor and respect and give thanks to this way of life that is shown to be able to take care of us as human beings, to care for our water, to care for our land, to care for our air, to care for all the things that we're responsible for. So today I celebrate us coming together on Martin Luther King Day, that we honor and respect the world around us, all my relations, all my siaya.
Welcome to the annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Redeeming the Prophetic Vision Interfaith Community Service. I welcome you on behalf of the Conversation. The Conversation is a grassroots social justice community who have been gathering every Sunday since 2006, when it started as a book study of Martin Luther King Jr.'s book, Why We Can't Wait. The Conversation is committed to building diverse, critically engaged communities of justice. We promote social justice through ideas, ideals, and action. Our goal is to model a just, open, compassionate community. Our foundational principle is justice for all. We are a family, an affinity group, a think tank, and a safe house. We envision a world free of racism, mistrust, and intentional harm. This is the 16th year of the Martin Luther King Jr. Redeeming the Prophetic Vision Interfaith Service. Since its inception, our mission is to recapture, reinvigorate, and redeem the prophetic vision of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We want to present his vision with its sharp, searing insight in the context of everyday life, in contrast to what we are seeing as an ongoing effort to render it as benign, anemic, antiseptic, elusive, and static. We want to bring it back to the soul of the people, the soul of the country, the soul of the nation, the soul of the world, and the soul of the earth, where it was envisioned. And thus, the conversation in partnership with Associate Ministries and Urban Grace Church welcome you here today. We began this time together with a heartfelt acknowledgement of the Puyallup Nation on whose land we stand. Despite being the targets of invasion, occupation, and displacement, leading to centuries of trauma, the Native peoples here in Tacoma, Pierce County, Washington, and across the country have extended to us the courtesy of a welcome to their home. We are guests and beneficiaries of this welcome. Through this acknowledgement, we signal our participation in the necessary project of reimagining the social contracts between Native people and the rest of us who have shown up through different routes to these Native nations. Our solidarity with Native people in their efforts to end generations of historical trauma. In Tacoma, Pierce County, we breathe in the beauty of these settings, and as guests, we appreciate the opportunity for learning and growth with an awareness of the living heritage of the land on which we stand. Again, the conversation's foundational principle is justice for all. Where there is injustice, there is no peace. No justice, no peace.
Welcome, friends. My name is Reverend Bianca Luna. I am the Director of Children and Youth Ministry at Urban Grace Church. When I think of the work of Martin Luther King Jr. and the life of the younger generations in today's world, I see a lot of commonalities, such as not being afraid to call out the injustice, always focused on the present and the future and not so much focused on the past, determined to do what is right, regardless of how difficult life may become after it. The younger generations know that to truly honor the life of Martin Luther King Jr. and how he lived is not to just post some inspirational quote of his once a year, but instead continuing to take a stand, getting educated, saying enough is enough, saying I am sick of tolerance. I don't want to be just tolerated. I want to truly be seen and heard. I want my voice to equally matter like every other voice in the room. I will no longer hide my emotions and my frustrations. I feel our lives are so deeply impacted by racism. Being against racism is to be against any supremacy that continues to have the heel on our throats that cause us to feel like we live in their oppression. We see it everywhere. It surrounds us. A part of me feels it's insane to still have this conversation and that it is even open for debate in some spaces. While another part of me feels racism will always be here to stay and it just might morph into looking something a little different. But regardless about how I feel that day, whether I am exhausted, frustrated, angry, or just completely over it, we keep pressing forward, keep fighting for what is true, fighting for what is right, calling out the injustices of the world because that's what we're called to do. For those of us who love God and take the gospel to heart, we cannot and will not be silenced by the injustices around us. Will you take a moment and join me in prayer? God, you see what breaks our hearts, and it also breaks yours. Guide us in mercy and in strength to keep growing in your love. Teach us how to love our enemies. Teach us to love those who are hard to love. In our moments of weakness and discouragement, give us those moments of your rest and peace. Help us to continue to keep getting back up. Lord, help us in learning to do good, to seek justice, correct oppression, bring justice to the fatherless, and to the plea of the widow's cause. We pray that there will be a day that all of your children will not just be tolerated, but valued and seen in a way that you see every single one of us. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might lead us into the light, keep us forever in the path, we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee, and lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Now we got to get this thing right. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive, and that love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is love correcting everything that stands against love.
We went out and surveyed the community. We took surveys to bars, to restaurants. We sent them out to our mailing list. And they all were saying, you know, we want a community center, or we need more resources. We'd like to celebrate. We'd like to be able to go someplace and have fun together and not feel threatened.
The response from that said what a need that there was. And it seemed like there was a fear, an underlying sort of fear, not a celebratory thing about being gay. It was kind of like a fear of where do I go, and I don't want to be found out, and if I do, are there other people that can help me? Maybe I'll need a lawyer or a doctor or something. So there was a need for that kind of secret handshake maybe. I really realized that Tacoma had basically nothing. It had bars. And if you wanted to see other gay people, you had to be in a club or in a group, and there was Tacoma Lesbians Concerned and all of that, but it was kind of closed and hard to meet people.
We were able to set up a table and a bulletin board. The table was full of resource materials. I had guys come in and would just be crying, tears flowing down their face because they thought they were the only gay person in the world, and they were looking at magazines and all this stuff that they had never seen before. So it was kind of an amazing experience.
That community is so important to just our life, to like daily existence. And we as a community have been through a lot. And I feel like being an LGBTQ plus community center is actually a really special thing that we get to kind of be this hub for people who need each other. Since I've been here, I feel like we have done a lot of very intentional work around who we're reaching out to in our community. Like I feel in terms of education that there's been a huge impact with in healthcare from Rainbow Center, just because we work with multi-care. Once other places realized multi-care was talking about LGBTQ competency, they also were like, hey, we need to be talking about that too. So I feel like people they want the information, but they don't know how to go about asking for it. And so I think that we still have a lot of work to do. And, we hear all the time that, people are still harassed for being LGBTQ. And I think like that just says, oh, Rainbow Center is still needed.
Sometimes we've been the last resort for folks, the final puzzle piece to help them along their journey. And in 2020, Rainbow Center supported Pierce County with the ERAP program, which is eviction prevention program. And we were able to help pay past rents for folks up to about $250,000 that we did. And that was just with our advocacy staff of 3 people.
I would say one of the most exciting things that I hope for in the future is that every person in Pierce County has a basic understanding of what it means to be a good ally to LGBTQ people. Our education program does this training for employers and for individuals, and we have had to expand that program because the requests have been greater than our capacity. And we're so excited about that. And my hope is that we reach a critical mass so that every person in Pierce County can walk down the street being fully who they are without fear of any kind of discrimination, harassment, or worse.
The Rainbow Center needs the community as a whole to support the work that we're doing so that we can continue to be there for other community members.
We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato 21 វនៅវត្តវៃតាកមានេះបានខាងសមាគមវណ្ណាស៊ីងឲ្យមកនិមន្តព្រះសង្ឃនៅវត្តដើម្បីសូត្រធម៌ដើម្បីផ្សាយមេត្តាធម៌ដល់មនុស្សសពសត្វទាំងអស់កុំឲ្យប្រកាន់ពូជសាសន៍មនុស្សយើងខុសទៅពណ៌សម្បុរគ្នាទេក៏ខ្លះពណ៌ខ្មៅខ្លះពណ៌សខ្លះពណ៌លឿងតែប៉ុណ្ណោះទេតែយើងខាងក្នុងឈាមក្រហមដូចគ្នាអញ្ចឹងសូមឲ្យមនុស្សទាំងអស់កុំឲ្យប្រកាន់ពូជសាសន៍ឲ្យចេះស្រឡាញ់គ្នាចេះរាប់រកគ្នាទៅវិញទៅមកហើយដើម្បីយើងធ្វើឲ្យសន្តិភាពក្នុងខ្លួនយើងផងធ្វើឲ្យសន្តិភាពក្នុងពិភពលោកផងអញ្ចឹងទេយើងធ្វើតាមពុទ្ធដីកាថាអហិង្សាដែលជាធម៌មួយធ្វើឲ្យយើងនឹងសន្តិភាពគ្រប់គ្នាបងអញ្ចឹងទេអាត្មានឹងសូត្រដូចតទៅនេះបងសង្ខាននរោធោសង្ខាននរោធិ วิญญาณนิโรธโธวิญญาณนิโรธเฮียนิยมรูปนิโรธโธนิยมรูปนิโรธเฮียสลายตนะนิโรธโธสลายตนะนิโรธเฮียภาสนิโรธโธภาสนิโรธเฮียเวทนิยนิโรธโธเวทนิยนิโรธเฮียตัณหานิโรธโธตัณหานิโรธเฮียปาเตียนนิโรธโธปาเตียนนิโรธเฮียปุเวนิโรธโธปุเวนิโรธเฮียเจียตนิโรธโธเจียตนิโรธเฮียจริยมมรณังสาวกปรเทวตกขโตมนสุปายาสามบวรเดเอวเมตตาสเกวลาสตกขคันทาสโนโทหอนเต
We must accept finite disappointment but never lose infinite hope.
Growing up, I knew a lot of struggle. I knew the struggle of my uncle who started selling crack at the age of 13 years old. I knew the struggle of my mother who came home from work and she would cry because she was exasperated. She was working 12, 13, 14 hours a day, dawn until dusk. We're doing everything in our power to get us ahead, yet we weren't. Nothing was getting us ahead. The cabinets were still bare. I was still going to failing schools. The power was getting shut off. We were sleeping in the cold. Nothing mattered. Nothing was getting us ahead. And it wasn't just us, it was everybody. Up and down the block, in the community, in the city, in the state, in the country. I never got it. Why was everybody working so hard, yet nobody was being rewarded? I didn't get it until Bernie Sanders ran for president and it all clicked. That this is a rigged system. You see, the parents are paid starvation wages and thrown into prison. And then their children go to failing schools and then grow up to be paid starvation wages and they're thrown into prison. And the cycle continues over and over and over again. You see, I love now we want to talk about how Black lives matter and how we want to fight for justice. But you see, Black lives won't matter until we have a $15 minimum wage, until we have a Green New Deal, until this rigged economic system is overthrown. It's time to take to the streets, organize with Sunrise, and take the action to the homes of the elite, from Jeff Bezos to Mitch McConnell and all the centers of power in this country. But most importantly, when you speak truth to power, you remember to speak the whole truth. Remember that Black liberation and all our collective liberation will not come until this rigged system is overthrown. Our families cannot sleep until they have a roof over their head and our children have a future. Therefore, the elite cannot sleep until we have a Green New Deal, until we have Medicare for all, fair housing, fair wages, and a system that works for all of our communities and not just the elite few. In the words of MLK, we have socialism for the rich and brutal capitalism for the poor. And also in the spirit of MLK, 50 years ago, they made a choice. They made a choice to march for justice in the face of dogs, in the face of brutal lynchings and police brutality and slaughter and killings across the country. It was a system out to get them, but they said, we don't care. We're going to stand up and we're going to fight. And today we have to make the same choice. The same choice lies before you and me and all of us. Because people are being kicked out. People are being kicked out of their homes by the millions, kicked out of their health coverage, being thrown into poverty and hopelessness. So you can stand on the sidelines, or you can make the choice like MLK, make the choice like Sunrise with the Wide Awake Actions, and you can fight. So make a stand, mobilize, make that choice. Go to sunrisemovement.org and join a Wide Awake Action near you. Because this type of fight is how we set ourselves free.
White Americans must recognize that justice for Black people cannot be achieved without radical changes to the structure in our society.
In 1965, foundational Black America loses one of its greatest leaders, Malcolm X, who fought for the liberation of his own people, jobs, justice, and economics. 1 year after the 1964 Civil Rights Act was passed. 1968, foundational Black America loses another great leader in Martin Luther King, who also fought for the liberation of his own people, jobs, justice, and economics. With both of our Black historical leaders gone way too soon, who wants to step up and protect Black America? Who wants to represent Black America? Who wants to step up and make our ancestors proud? The question was no longer who, it was when. October 15th, 1966, Oakland, California. Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale said, I had enough. They formed the Black Panther Party for self-defense.
Panther doesn't strike anyone, but when he's assailed upon, that he'll back up first. But if the aggressor continues, then he'll strike out.
Unlike the Democrat Party or the Republican Party, the Black Panther Party had an agenda for Black Americans. The party believed in a 10-point program which included land, bread, housing, Black folks exempt from the military, all Black prisoners released, and to end police brutality. and which we're still fighting for to this day.
If we saw the police brutalizing anyone, we put an end to this.
The Black Panther Party established chapters in 48 states and allies in England, China, Japan, Mozambique, Cuba, and many other countries. With the sudden rise of Black empowerment, it was a matter of time before the FBI caught on. J. Edgar Hoover said, and I quote, "The Black Panther Party is the biggest threat to internal security in the United States." The party created free food programs, provided transportation, and opened up health clinics. In 1982, the party dissolved, with police raids nationwide attacking anything Black happiness, Black success, and Black excellence. I, Zarel Blue, and your local Tacoma chapter Black Panther Party will continue fighting for the liberation of our people, jobs, justice, and economics. All power to the people.
And we plan to teach the people the strategy and the necessary tools to liberate themselves.
There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe nor political nor popular, but they must take it because their conscience tells them it is right.
Listen. Can you not hear the past echoes coming from our throats? We are choked and we are suffocating. Still advocating for ancient blasphemies and trafficking, a tragedy of souls by the soulless. Made homeless, then controlled us, left alone in a sea of apathy. They sound like screams, like the roar of collective dreams, unheard, on repeat. Always the frequencies reverberate upon frigid mountaintops as if the screams were merely a breeze, an afterthought. An imperfect black spot on the snow that maddens, though no block can stop the avalanche your hell hath wrought. For all your treasures were paid and bought with those screams, with those dreams, then hoarded by dragons who own the word free. Those worship fiendish beasts have pulled sheep's wool, used cheap tools to blind you. But are you deafened too? Learn no lessons through songs and stories consumed like cannibals? Careful to whom you refer as animals, for if you cannot hear them, the animal is you.
Unity has never meant uniformity.
Ampetu washte matakiapi, chante washte napichu shape, tisagye we imachiapi. Good day, relatives. I greet you with an open heart. My Lakota name is Tisagye, which translates to the cane woman, and my English name is Benita. I am Hunkpapa from Sitting Bull's people. 2020 to 2021 have been difficult years for all people. Native Daily Network was awarded our nonprofit status only a couple months before the first COVID lockdown here in the Seattle area. Indigenous people are used to having to adapt to changed circumstances, and in partnership with our resilient community, we were ready to warrior up and help in any way we could. For me and my family, the most enduring memories of the past 2 years are those that were rich in tradition. One of the most beautiful parts of our Indigenous way of life is that we center everything we do in service to each other and the survival of our culture. From the prayer in our songs to the medicine we share as we smudge, and then bringing it all together as we gather in Sweat Lodge. I believe that our resiliency comes directly from our ceremonies and our intentional efforts to practice all of them. Native Daily Network is an idea rooted in ending Indigenous invisibility, but existing in our community space, we have to be so much more than the media. The last 2 years have made us realize that more than ever.
Malolele and greetings. This right here is the youth of Tonga, the Church of Tonga, in other words, Yasio Tonga Ho'eki. First, I'd like to thank God for letting this beautiful day for us to perform this beautiful dance that we're doing today. I also like to thank Asia Pacific Cultural Center for also inviting us to be able to represent our culture to share with you guys.
Change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle.
It takes dedication. It takes the willingness to stand by and do what has to be done when it has to be done.
For us, it's a meditation and a reminder every time we're out here of what we're fighting for and what we hope to change.
As I've said so often, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
To be the first to tell PSC that they're not respected on Puyallup land anymore. They're not respected on Medicine Creek Treaty.
It is not just a lot of noise and needless marching, but it is at bottom a struggle to establish a reign of justice and a rule of love all over this nation and in every community.
The two protesters arrested after coming down from the crane this week believe the land here belongs to the Puyallup tribe.
We are challenged to work with renewed vigor, with passionate determination. We shall overcome. We shall overcome.
We need to take action and start now. Climate strike, Tacoma! Climate strike, Tacoma! Climate strike, Tacoma!
I do believe we shall overcome.
I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. And then I want you to act. I want you to act as if you would in a crisis. I want you to act as if the house was on fire. Because it is.
Until we can get people to recognize that they themselves have to make the struggle and have to make the fight for freedom every day in the year, every year, until they win it. Thank you.
Life's most persistent question is, what are you doing for others? Martin Luther King, 1957, Montgomery, Alabama.
You have a responsibility to seek to make your nation a better nation in which to live. You have a responsibility to seek to make life better for everybody.
Good afternoon. My name is Eve Bowen. As chairperson of the MLK Redeeming the Prophetic Vision Social Justice Award Committee, it's my pleasure to share with you why this award was created. The MLK Redeeming the Prophetic Vision project is a product of the conversation. Part of the event mission is to address social malaise in the redeeming of Dr. King's vision. To quote him, "Our only hope today lies in our ability to recapture the revolutionary spirit and go into a sometimes hostile world declaring eternal hostility to poverty, racism, and militarism." To highlight that revolutionary spirit of declaring eternal hostility to poverty, racism, and militarism, it was our decision to recognize and honor individuals who have given sustained, outstanding service to the cause of human rights and human dignity in the state of Washington. Individuals who had made significant impact, including such issues as scope and depth in improving life in the state of Washington and beyond, and have worked quietly, not demanding public attention or accolades or to gain an employment promotion. They are our unsung heroes. With that, the Social Justice Award was created and brought to fruition using guidelines to nomination and selection of nominees. The 2022 Social Justice Awardees are as follows. First is Andretta Armstrong. Miss Armstrong, a lawyer, mentor, manager, and justice entrepreneur, has spent her life animating spiritual principles to support people who are discarded at the extreme margins. As the city's human rights manager, Andretta has used her platform as a lawyer, a natural leader, to empower her team in the cause of housing and employment justice. Those seeking help from discrimination receive the leveling impact of law and advocacy from Andretta personally and from her team collectively. Andretta brings love and mindfulness to clients and staff and imbues each with a sense of inherent value. She provides wisdom and guidance through her words. In addition to her management role, Andretta serves as the executive sponsor of the city's Women of Color Affinity Group. Each of these women receives her deep care and attention. In the 1980s, Andretta refined her vision after working with inmates, studying at Pierce College at McNeil Island Correctional Center. She developed a business to build a support system to create sustained housing for these individuals and others. This led Andretta and her spouse to establish the One Group, devoted to providing housing and life coaching support for people transitioning from the Department of Corrections, or perceived to have undesirable rental histories, or suffering from a history of mental illness, or be dealing with other outcomes of systemic oppression. That business now thrives. Residents in her numerous rental properties can depend on high-end living environments, along with life and career coaching opportunities, and a sense that their lives and futures matter. We advance this nomination on behalf of Andretta Armstrong with a glad, unanimous heart.
Thank you so much for this award. I really appreciate it. Specifically, I want to name the Office of Equity and Human Rights with the city and the conversation, the selection committee. More than 60 years ago, my parents packed up their 4 children and came from where we call the belly of the beast, Mobile, Alabama, to the promised land, Tacoma, and for a better life for their 4 children. This award really speaks to this life being a better life, and there were opportunities. And I've been working to increase the quality of folks' lives here in Tacoma ever since. So thank you.
Next, Darren Moore, Bonita Moore, and their granddaughter Mariah founded Native Daily Network in early 2016, just before the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe's fight against the Dakota Access Pipeline. Using videos and written accounts, Native Daily Network documents social issues affecting our indigenous relatives. Being descendants of the Hunkpapa Lakota Nation, Sitting Bulls tribe, they all devote their lives and energy to advocate for the environment, tribal treaty rights, and tribal sovereignty. Darren and Bonita coined the term water protectors and are part of a global family working to heal Untsi Maka, Grandmother Earth All Life. As quoted from their website, through trial and tribulation and since time immemorial, we have retained an ancient understanding. Our way of life provides workable solutions to modern problems. Darren, Bonita, and Mariah are veterans of frontline activism. They started their activism at the methanol resistance rallies in Tacoma, Washington. The No DAPO-resistant camps at Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, they organized several no liquefied natural gas rallies and organized prayer vigils to protect Mother Earth. They produced a film documentary, Ancestral Waters, to highlight the injustices to the Puyallup tribe treaty rights with Puget Sound Energy's liquefied natural gas refinery. This documentary has been used and screened in universities and schools all over the region. Again, I quote, "We believe that our indigenous communities are the key to a sustainable future."
To earn the appreciation and belief of those in our extended community is something that we are beyond grateful for, and we promise that we will work every single day to make good on your faith in us.
And next, Les Pogue. Les Pogue has been a strong and clear voice for equity in Tacoma for years. He is a father and a role model for many. Les has organized events, both large and small, to listen to community needs in areas of housing, food, racial, and environmental justice. Here are a few ways he impacts others. He met with Hilltop community members and affordable housing residents to discuss their needs. He served on the Education Committee for the Black Collective organization. He organized social gatherings in Hilltop for children and their families to listen, play music, and share stories. He has been a guest speaker at several events like Northwest Detention Center, Black Lives Matter, environmental justice, racial justice, and more. And he's also marched to support the Puyallup Water Warriors in their effort to stop Puget Sound Energy's liquefied natural gas refinery. Les works to bring to the forefront both local and national injustices about how corporations are licensed to pollute the land, air, and water at the expense of Black and brown communities. The voices of community members left behind are dear to him, and he listens to them with an open heart.
Much love and respect to the conversation and the folks that were involved in giving this award for social justice work in Tacoma. I do this work on the backs of my ancestors and the shoulders of the folks who were here before me. My father, Lester Clarence Pogue, and in honor of my Aunt Sally, I received this award in acceptance along with all the other folks that do this work in trying to make a more better and just world. Peace, love, and liberation, and respect to the Puyallup tribe.
Next, Karen Vargas. Karen Vargas is founder and director of Living Life Leadership, a youth mentoring program with the New Life Community Development Agency in Kitsap County. She founded Kitsap Equity, Race, and Community Engagement, a collection of organizations and community members working for racial equity in Kitsap County. She is a trained facilitator for the Strengthening African American Families program and co-chairperson of the Multicultural Advisory Council for the Bainbridge Island School District. She is founder of the Living Arts Cultural Heritage Center in Bremerton. She has advocated for youth and their families in our Kitsap schools and community for over 25 years. She has organized many Kitsap community events such as 9/11 SOS, Celebration of Hidden History, Healing Our Land, Healing Our People, and the Weaving History Celebration. She is a past recipient of the Linda Gabriel Award for Human Rights and the Woman of Achievement Award, among other honors, and is an ardent human rights and civil rights advocate.
Well, thank you. This is such an honor to be given the Martin Luther King Award, but I also have to thank all those that have labored alongside of us during this time. That would be Dr. Dexter Gordon, Dr. Dina Runger from our Evergreen family, and our Kitsap E-Race Coalition that have labored so tremendously to move race equity forward and civil rights and human rights in our county. And again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you. It's such an honor to receive this award.
And last but not least, Paul Chiocton Wagner of Redmond is a member of Saanich First Nations and has been speaking out on social environmental issues since he was a boy. He's a strong advocate of ancient ways and teachings of the circle of life. In 2013, Chiocton assisted with Idle No More rallies and actions in Seattle, as well as speaking at them. In December 2015, he was honored to speak alongside Jill Stein and Deborah Parker at the Conference of the Parties 21 Climate Talks in Paris. After participating in the Seattle to Standing Rock canoe journey in late August 2016, he and volunteers built tarpy shelters, 88 tarpies so far, gifting them to Indigenous water protector families. Chiocton formed Protectors of the Salish Sea, an Indigenous-led organization dedicated to ending the era of fossil fuel in our Salish Sea. In 2019, Protectors occupied the front steps of the Olympia State Capitol for 8 months, pressuring the government to declare a climate emergency. Currently, Protectors are creating a tribal youth canoe alliance. Chiocton has organized numerous walks and rallies, co-authored the Tokatai Salish Sea Whale Sanctuary Proclamation to recognizing our Salish Sea as a whale sanctuary to save our wild salmon and orcas from extinction.
O siyam na stila cha siyam Chiocton sinasnat chilat sanat Husanich. I'm Chiocton from Husanich, and I'm here giving gratitude for this award for Martin Luther King and all the work that he's ever done, giving gratitude for all of the work that our ancestors have done to keep this world well, to keep our families well, our communities well, and to keep ourselves well inside of our sacred places, our Hachusada, our Natsamat, sacred places that we keep these teachings so that we can bring them to this world and have a good future for our children. OCM, Haiska, many Haiskas.
Let's congratulate and celebrate these 5 wonderful awardees. Thank you.
Everyone can be great because anyone can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. Dr. Martin Luther King, February 4th, 1968.
Hi, I'm Mike Yoder. I'm the Executive Director at Associated Ministries. And here at AM, we've been really proud to partner with The Conversation since the inception of this Martin Luther King service. Such a powerful event, and we're so proud to be involved in a small way. You know, I just wanted to share my enthusiasm for the focus on youth. I think we've all been through just an incredibly difficult time these past 2 years, and I'd say that our young people have maybe suffered the most from all that we've had to navigate in this crazy season. But I'm also excited to announce that we have a really new way that's exciting and I think life-changing way to impact the lives of young people in our community. Associated Ministries is now the home of Pierce County's Youth Host Home program. You know, many young people struggle to work on their educational and vocational goals, to finish their education, to get started in their jobs. And can you imagine how much more difficult that is if you don't have a stable place to call home? And so that's the goal of our Youth Host Home program. We match 16 to 24-year-olds who don't have stable housing with a family or a household who has an extra room and is willing to take them in for a year or so. You know, we're able to serve some pretty incredible young people through this program. And Tabby is someone who was actually involved in this program in the past year and who just had an incredible outcome. One of the outreach teams here in our community literally found her living on the street as a 17-year-old because she just had to flee her family because of extreme drug use, and it wasn't a situation that she could tolerate any longer. You know, after we got her matched up with a host family, she just took off. She was able to complete her education at Tacoma Community College as an honor student. She got her first job, got stable in that way, and now she's just been accepted at UW Tacoma. It's an amazing story. The sad truth is there's a whole lot more Tabbies out there that are waiting for an opportunity like that. More young people than we have families and homes to match them with. So today I'm going to ask you to think about whether that might be a way that you could step up and become a big influence, a big factor in the lives of a young person. Would you just give us a call here at Associated Ministries just to chat about what that might look like to be a part of the Youth Host Home program? No obligation. We're here weekdays at 253-383-3056. Call us and give us a chat about what it might be like to have a young person in your home and just to contribute to that type of stability in their life.
There is more peace somewhere.
There is more peace somewhere.
I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy
During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Black Student Union, in collaboration with the Office of Student Engagement, saw the need to support our TCC community with basic needs. The Titan Food Pantry and the Pierce County Nourish Truck were actively supporting students by providing free food, so the TCC BSU stepped forward and created the Personal Item Drive with the intention of giving away free hygiene items.
Over the past year and a half, we have handed out to our student and large community more than 800 hygiene kits, along with diapers, baby wipes, toys, winter gear, and many more items.
Our community project can only exist thanks to the amazing volunteers and community partners that have donated time, efforts, and money. We are proud of the impact we have in the community, and we hope to continue building our legacy for future generations.
We would like to say
thank you
to our OSC advisors, mentors, the TCC clubs and staff, and to our sponsors who supports our work. Let's go BSU.
Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about the things that matter.
My name is C. Rosalind Bell, and I'm here today to talk to you about West Feliciana Parish in Louisiana, in the United States of America, which is this. This is where I was born. This is the area that I have been researching for a few years now. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the issue of voting in West Feliciana Parish. After the Union won the war, Black people in St. Francisville, Louisiana, and West Feliciana Parish were as elated as Black people all over the country, and especially the South. However, there were former slave owners who were not so happy. There were white people in positions of power all over the parish in West Feliciana Parish who were not so happy that now Black people had been voted, who voted themselves now into positions of power. Black people who were newly freed, newly able to vote, voted overwhelmingly Republican. Republicans were the party of Lincoln, the party that freed, emancipated Black people. All over West Feliciana Parish, white folks were hopping mad. U.S. senators came from Washington, D.C. to investigate the claims of gross intimidation, killing, and all kinds of bad behavior by white former enslavers against their newly citizenized, newly capable of voting Black neighbors. On Saturday night, November 4th, 1876, while Rice was at home, Black man, in bed, he heard the tramp of horses, and running out he saw about 20 white men armed who had dismounted and were walking rapidly toward his house. Rice escaped their notice. As the invaders reached the door, some of them struck a light, and Rice saw a rope in his hand. The party entered his house, and, as he afterward learned from his family, inquired for Tom Rice and searched the house. While they were in the house, Rice saw a blaze of light and heard his daughter cry, "Don't burn me up!" Heard one of them say, "Tell Tom Rice if he goes to Weber's barbecue on Monday, he will go up as sure as hell." He then heard 2 shots fired, and going around a path leading toward Dr. Davis's, he saw 5 or 6 men on foot and about 15 on horseback going away rapidly. Rice got away into a ravine and slept in his shirt and drawers. Recognized among the invaders, Cortland B. Smith, Napoleon Riddell, Nelson Ball, Otto Ball, Jasper Edwards, all of whom are his neighbors, or were his neighbors, well known to him. Napoleon Riddle, one of the party, some weeks before, had said to a witness at Dr. Ball's gate, speaking of politics, "We will have old Tom yet if we have to hang him." Witness learned from his wife that the invaders burned up nearly everything in one room of his house. Witness is now in New Orleans and is afraid to return to his home, believing his life is in danger because he's a prominent Republican. The assault of a parish judge and forced a police jury to resign. Judge John S. Dula swears in October 1875, armed bulldozers broke into my store and gutted it, sent to me a written resignation of my office of judge with a verbal message that if I did not sign it, by the next day at 4 p.m., they would take my life. I sent a refusal and fled to New Orleans and remained there 3 months. About the 1st of May, 1876, 50 or 60 armed bulldozers, and bulldozers are men with guns, men who are coming to with a rope for you or with guns to kill you, harm you. About the 1st of May, 1876, 50 or 60 armed bulldozers rushed into the courthouse where I was holding court and commanded the police jury to resign on pain of death. This jury instantly resigned. The Thomas Stewart vote in 3rd Ward swears, at midnight, July 11, 1876, a large band of armed white men surrounded the house where Witness and Scott Johnson were staying and ordered them out. Saw in their custody a Negro named Riley Norflis, whom they held with a rope around his neck. Riley is one of the relatives of mine, one of my forebears. One of them said, "Hurry up and hang him, and then hang the other black sons of bitches." Then they hung up Norflis by the neck, but did not kill him, and took Witness to plantation of Charles Paris, and there shot and killed Gilbert Carter, a prominent Republican Negro. They said they killed him because he had organized a Republican club. The same night they shot at Isaac Vessel, a leading Republican Negro. They threatened me with death if I should vote the Republican ticket. Judge Dula swears to the murder of Carter. These are indications of the lengths that the white people in St. Francisville, in West Feliciana Parish, all over the South, went to impede progress, to not let black men, at that point it was only men, vote. Having a man vote would mean that he is a man, that he's a human being. The enslaved don't vote. Now, I'm sure some of this may be news to you, but a lot of it isn't. The United States of America, its legs, its formation is enslavement. Finally, I would like to urge you, the viewer, the listener, to make a commitment to yourself and to this country, to your fellow citizen, resident of this country, to do something every day to make this world a better place.
Shalom, my name is Rabbi Stefan Tivi. I'm the rabbi here at Temple Beth El in Tacoma, Washington. It's my great pleasure to be with you today as we are honoring and celebrating the great legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The Jewish Reform movement has always been very active in the civil rights movement as well. Multiple rabbis were marching with Reverend King in the South, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the year to follow, the Voting Rights Act, were actually both drafted in the Religious Action Center in Washington, the RAC. So it is a great source of pride and also of responsibility carrying out this great legacy of Reverend King. I want to share with you a blessing that was written by Alden Solovi, the great liturgist of the Reform movement, and share this with you today. Let truth shine from your face, spark from your eyes, overflow from your lips. Let truth protect your heart, shield your lungs, exude from your chest. Let truth strengthen your bones, engage your nerves, capture your being. For truth is in each moment and each question, the earth's hot core and the cold edge of the universe, the flow of wisdom from God's holy word, divine mysteries and secrets, calling out to you, my brothers and sisters. Awaken, you slumberers. Awake, you who sit idle and hapless against the tide of dishonesty and deceit. Have you forgotten my promises? Have you forgotten our covenant, our pact to care for creation? Have you turned away from your hopes and ideals? This then is God's command. Let truth envelop you, protect you, flow through you. Let truth carry you into honest days and righteous seasons. Speak and teach, listen and hear, lifting your way in life with dignity and understanding. Let truth be your signature and your legacy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu li'adof tzedek. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who commanded us to pursue justice.
In the end, we will remember not the words of enemies, but the silence of our friends.
In this our 16th year of bringing to our communities Martin Luther King Jr.'s radical prophetic vision, in which he sought, along with the many participants in the civil rights movement, to create unity across difference, to renew their shared commitments to the path of social justice, and to reconnect with peace and justice advocates. We are proud to continue our partnership with the Urban Grace Church and with associated ministries. And we reaffirm that indeed we are inextricably bound in shared mutuality, and we are woven into what Martin Luther King Jr. called the single garment of destiny. This year we wanted to highlight the many voices across our communities working for justice, seeking to make real the promise of Dr. King's prophetic vision, a promise that indicated that indeed together we could reimagine a new world that's not only possible but necessary. We wanted to bring the voices of a new generation of visionary social justice activists whose voices and whose vision is critical to the shaping of the new world we need. We thank you. We do this together and we benefit together.
Well, life for none of us has been a crystal stair, but we must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl, but by all means, keep moving.